Okay, Steve, you may commence.
Thank you very much, Bill. So I'd like to welcome everyone to the November 6, 2025 meeting of the Norwalk Shellfish Commission here held by Zoom. And the chair notes that a quorum is present. And additionally, has attendance been taken?
It has.
Wonderful. And I see one attendee, and I also see some folks, I think, representing the 108 Water tonight. Approval of the minutes. Approval of the minutes goes back to the September meeting. Since we had nothing on the agenda for last month, we canceled it. A motion to accept the minutes from the September 4th meeting of the commission.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Chairman Johnson. A second.
I'll second.
Thanks, Commissioner Hiller. And
Steve, one thing, sorry to interject, but we also had August 7th. We had to do those minutes as well because we didn't have a quorum in September to approve them.
Gotcha. All right, so let's just get a vote on this one first. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, none opposed. And going back now to August, a motion to accept those, and thanks for that, Bill.
So moved.
Thank you. A second.
I'll second.
Thanks very much. And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thanks so much. I'm taking that off the board for now. I see two attendees here for potential public comment. And if one of those individuals or both would like to speak, if a hand could be raised electronically, please. Seeing none, we can move on to the treasurer's report. Please, Bill.
Sure. The balance is currently $28,650. There were a few expenditures that actually go back to March, but they weren't recorded until September. But the first one is for $537 to Silvermine for the permits. And then there was $105 for three permits or to pay for the Shellfish conference that was a few months back. So
Yep.
that was part of that. So that total is $642 for everything. That results in the balance being currently $28,650.
Wonderful. Thank you, sir. In terms of the secretary's report, I just wanted to thank our sister Harbor Management Commission for approving a letter that went out to his honor and signed by Chairman Dr. Pinto in support of naming the East Basin Marina after Tony Mobilia. The letter went chapter and verse in terms of Tony's decades of contribution to us locally and to the country as a veteran, and there couldn't be a better person to have his name on that facility going forward. Also want to thank Chairman Pinto for the coastal site plan review documents from 119 Gregory, and we do have that filed. And that's all I have in terms of Secretary's report. We can move on to committees and Department of Health, please, Bill.
Sure. I'll start with September, seeing how we didn't do that in October. So the rainfall was 2.19 inches. The year before, it was 0.87, quite low. Historically, it's 5.03 inches. There were no bypasses reported. There were closures on September 6th and September 7th only for Cook's Ground, just rainfall exceeding 0.5 inches. That's it for September. For October, the rainfall was 3.95. Last year it was 0.23, which is also very low. Traditionally or historically, it's 4.44. There was one bypass due to a clogged sewer line on Lexington Ave. It was about 30 minutes in duration. It didn't really impact anything, but just wanted to make you aware of it. There was a closure on October 31st all areas due to excessive rainfall. And the reopening is actually begins tomorrow at sunrise for the areas. I got the notice this afternoon. And that is it.
Terrible that we missed these low tides, though.
Right.
Wastewater treatment plant, no report. Mayor's Water Quality Committee, I only want to say that perhaps right after January 1st, a letter could go out to current Her Honor elect to ask about reinvigorating that committee. So that would be me, Chairman Kibbe, and Chairman Pinto, just making an inquiry as to her desires for that committee going forward. So let's plan that right after the holidays, gentlemen. Permits, Bill.
Nothing for permits other than what I reported out regarding the permits for last year, but regarding the permits for this coming year, we could work on getting that squared away. Again, I'd like to have them so they're available shortly after the new year.
Yep.
Last year, somebody, was kind of wondering why it was taking so while. So I like to get ahead of it this year.
Underway. Thank you. And we don't need maps as far as we can tell.
That's correct. Yeah, I think we have enough for this year. We probably would need to revisit that, for the following year though, for 27.
Thank you, sir. The Marine Unit, Sergeant Bisegli, please, sir.
Hey guys, so a couple things going on our end. In October, we obviously had the barge blocking the Norwalk River, which didn't have any big implication from a shellfish standpoint, but just something that we were dealing with for a couple days there. We also had a complaint about a commercial fisherman on the recreational grounds, which we located him, issued him an infraction for the shellfish ordinance violation. We got a subsequent complaint recently regarding the same fisherman, and we opened a criminal investigation on him, which is ongoing, which will be concluding soon. So I can't discuss too many details right now, but once that's reached completion, we can discuss that a little more. That is ongoing. We've identified who it is and are going through our process on that end.
Thank you for your diligence.
Are you able to share the boat name?
I'm not going to share the boat name at this time, just
Okay,
because it is
all
an
right.
ongoing investigation.
Yeah, because okay, fair enough.
Is there anything specific? I mean, I don't want to.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
fine.
want to elaborate too much
I
just
can
because of
follow.
the public
I can-
forum and whatnot.
I got you. I got you. I'll follow up with you directly.
Okay, sounds good.
Bye.
Yeah, thanks for your diligence, Sergeant, and to Officer Lee as well.
Do you mind sharing the water temp if you have it?
Yep, it's about 53 degrees. We were out yesterday for a call and it was pretty nasty.
And where is that? Where I was too. Where is that from a historical perspective?
I don't have the data on that.
Okay, that's
I don't
fine.
know,
I'm just
I don't know
curious.
if Bill does, but typically it's just based on like what I've experienced from diving and whatnot. It's like mid-50s this time of year. It's kind of on par for it seems like.
Bruce, thank you.
I don't have anything on that, unfortunately.
Yeah, we could go back and look at our own archives to compile that if we wanted to. Norwalk
No
Harbor.
reason to make it work for that question.
Yeah, no worries. Norwalk Harbor Management Commission, Chairman Kibbe, please, sir.
Thank you, Chairman Bartush. I guess the exciting event was the grounded barge in the Upper Norwalk River. That was very exciting. I spent a day on the harbor master boat with everybody working to clear that obstruction there. And the one thing my takeaway from that was is amazing to me how seamlessly all the parties involved there worked to work efficiently, make a determination of how to get the vessel off the ground and to put that into action. So kudos to everybody involved with that. I thought it went very smoothly, almost seamlessly between everybody working there and cooperating together. It's been a successful season for us. I think we had a scout, Eagle Scout project, restoring the campsites on one of our recreational islands, and that went very, very well. And I think the other benefit was getting recreation and parks people out there to see the facilities we have there and how useful they could be if they were well maintained. The hurdle there, I think, is that recreation and parks is in charge of those areas really, and they don't have a vessel to get there. So their oversight is kind of limited. So I think we should be working on some solutions to that to get better utilization of those campsites and better supervision of them so they're not beat to crap by many people. Other than that, good activities on our transient mooring program. We've had a lot of usage, and the reviews that are published online and available to anybody who uses the DocWa platform are pretty extraordinary. That everybody that comes to Norwalk has a good experience here, no matter what they do, whether it's staying out by Sheffield Island or coming in closer to South Norwalk and enjoying South Norwalk and East Norwalk and the Maritime Aquarium and all the things we have to offer that really are accessible by the water for recreational boaters. And finally, I'm just pleased to see all the activity and the communication going on with the Manresa projects. So that's my report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Hey, I just
Consultant-
want to say that the public moorings that were put up seem to get some utilization and are very high quality. So congratulations, and to whomever is involved in that project.
And that's Jeff Mangles and the Harbor Commission has been heading that up.
Mr. Stedman, any further comments?
Yes, Steve. Excuse me. I had a number of things I wanted to mention, but if the applicants for the 108 Water Street project are waiting, could you take them next rather than have them wait through my comments, or how would you like to proceed?
No, let's just move through it. There's not many other things on the agenda tonight, so please proceed.
All right. Well, there are a number of important things, I believe, that are of interest to the Shellfish Commission and the Harbor Commission. I'll try to go through these quickly. We've talked a lot about the Norwalk River Watershed Initiative and the ongoing work to update the watershed-based plan. There was a public meeting on September 27th at the South Norwalk Library to discuss the work in progress to update the plan. It was only attended by a few people, interestingly. I don't know, 7 or 8 people, which is much different than it was in 1987 and 1988. But we were able to make some displays and also provide to the Watershed Initiative. We made a new display on Norwalk Harbor as the oyster capital of Connecticut, using the Rumler murals, images of the murals from the city, WPA murals from the City Hall, and also included that 1889 map of the natural shellfish bed. Again, making the argument that what takes place upstream in the watershed affects the water quality in Norwalk Harbor. John Pinto was able to go. I brought the displays over, but couldn't attend the meeting, and mentioned that we have provided to the watershed-based plan consultant the water quality policies from the harbor management plan, and also suggested some new policies that we considered. For example, the need to manage highway and bridge pollutants throughout the watershed, so as not to discharge into the waterways, and to maintain a balance between development and environmental protection goals, which seem to be, in some instances now, the balance seems to be weighed more towards development. And also to make a clear statement on what's meant by resiliency with respect to floodplain management. The next public meeting on this matter is in December, so there's more time to prepare and to make specific recommendations on behalf of both the Shellfish Commission and the Harbor Management Commission. And then, of course, that leads to the discussion of the Route 7 Merritt Parkway project by the DOT. And we talked about that with the Watershed Initiative, with the Soundkeeper, and with others. And if you look at the project website of the DOT, it certainly appears to be a substantial increase in impervious surfaces, both alongside and over and nearby the Norwalk River. And based on what we anticipated would be the future approach to these highway construction projects, we would expect and anticipate that increase in stormwater would be managed, just as it was from the Yankee Doodle Bridge. So we were talking about that with the watershed initiative, and also the consultant working on the update to the plan. So anyway, I'll try to go through these quickly. There's another interesting development that's taken place, and we learned about it here in Norwalk with respect to the Seaview Avenue project and the East Norwalk Boat and Yacht Club, a project that the Harbor Commission found inconsistent with the harbor management plan. The boat club submitted a petition with 25 signatures for an evidentiary public hearing, which was denied. And because no one knew that a law had been passed, it took effect in June, which is, I think the title is an act to enhance the predictability of environmental permitting. So an evidentiary hearing is not automatically held upon the submission of a petition with 25 signatures. There'll be an informational hearing, but the evidentiary hearing with the opportunity to question witnesses and the site visit and so forth is held now. If at least one of the petitioners makes the argument that his or her duties and responsibilities are potentially affected by the decision. So that was really something that was unexpected. We didn't realize that. And interestingly, although that new law was referenced on the DEP notice of the tentative determination to approve the application, nobody knew what it was. And interestingly, there's an instance in Eastern Connecticut or Central Connecticut where this was a big to-do with a DEP permit for air emissions. And an environmental group and neighbors petitioned and found out that their petition was denied for the evidentiary hearing. So it's quite interesting. And there's in Greenwich, there is a tentative determination by DEP issued for a dock that would go on a natural shellfish bed. So in Greenwich, the Harbor Commission and the Shellfish Commission are coordinating their response and have requested a hearing and have made the argument that the petitioner's duties and responsibilities are potentially affected by the decision. So we'll see how that works out. But it's certainly relevant to what takes place in Norwalk, and we'll just see how that proceeds. The Seaview Avenue project, the informational hearing, the public comments will be heard on December 11th. But again, there's no questioning of witnesses or intervening parties. It's people can make comments, and then the DEP makes their decision. So that public comment hearing is on December 11th. December 23rd is the deadline for written comments. There's a whole bunch of other things. The Manresa Island project is of course, very interesting, and we spent a lot of time preparing a response to the stewardship permit. The draft permit that was noticed by DEEP for approval, and in discussing that with DEEP, we understand what the stewardship permit is for. The stewardship permit is simply sets forth responsibilities for remediation. Doesn't explain the means or the methods. Those are to be developed in the remedial action plans, the detailed plans for the remediation. We also provided to the remediation division, which is appreciative, that 1889 map showing that Manresa Island is completely surrounded by natural shellfish beds. So the Harbor Commission's review of this was resulted in a statement to support the issuance of the stewardship permit, but with the understanding that what's included is not just remediation of the upland part of the property, but also the remediation of any contamination in the marine sediments that most likely, could be anticipated to have been the result of the coal-fired power plant, and then later the oil-fired power plant. DEEP assured us that is the case, but there are areas in that stewardship permit that could be strengthened to make it clear that is the case. So that was one of the understandings for support, that it includes the marine sediments as well as the upland, and also that the Harbor Commission, and we referenced the Shellfish Commission, with the Shellfish Commission's concern about the natural shellfish beds around the area, that the commissions would have an opportunity, and so would the public, to review the proposed detailed remedial action plans when they're put forward. So that's another, much more to talk about with that. We'll stop. The work that that's ongoing to achieve a amendment to the harbor management legislation to uphold the municipal authority of harbor management commissions, which of course has a value and a benefit to supporting Shellfish Commission decisions. So Dr. Pinto is the chairman of a committee of harbor management commission representatives to work on that. We did have a committee meeting with representatives from Greenwich, Stamford, Norwalk, Fairfield, London, and Norwich. And now we're proceeding with a meeting that DEEP is going to arrange with representatives of the legislature's environment committee. So that's in the works, and the legislative session doesn't start till February, but we're optimistic that logic can prevail in all this and fairness, and we'll get an appropriate amendment to the act that doesn't result in an effort to veto the as erroneously suggested last time. The Connecticut Port Authority, on October 15th, everybody knows, I'm sure read about it, there was a groundbreaking ceremony at the East Norwalk Basin Marina. And Steve mentioned looking ahead, naming the new marina after Tony Mobilia. But that was an interesting event that representatives of the Connecticut Port Authority, which provided $3.5 million for redoing the marina, they attended. And we also learned that the next round of SHIP grants, that was the grant program that was being used to fund the East Norwalk Marina, or the Veterans Park Marina. The next round is not expected until after the first of next year, and that's because the Port Authority is asking the Bond Commission in December, next month, to allocate the full amount of money that would be available for these grants. If it's $5 million or more, and then the Port Authority would be responsible for allocating that or dispersing that to those whose grant applications are accepted. So that's in the works. And also the Port Authority, I believe we talked with the executive director, who understands the issue with the Municipal Authority for Harbor Management Commissions and would like to be involved in the ongoing discussions with DEEP. A bunch of other things, but I'll say one more thing. And again, it gets back to and it's relevant to what we do and the decisions that the commissions make, in my opinion. It gets back to the Connecticut Siting Council. Disappointing and discouraging interaction we had with the Siting Council in Norwalk over the Eversource project. They never addressed our questions, refused to have a public hearing, which was certainly warranted. And then I had mentioned that the Siting Council more recently has been involved in this most controversial project through Fairfield and Bridgeport, and having to do with monopoles along the rail line, taking the transmission lines off the railroad towers. But anyway, recently the Siting Council changed their straw vote to deny the United Illuminating project in Fairfield and Bridgeport. But there was absolutely no discussion of why. And now subsequently UI is appealing that decision, asked that the Siting Council reconsider it, redo it, primarily because nobody understands why they reversed their decision. So in this instance, the utility company, the applicant, submitted an application. It met all the requirements for submittal. The Siting Council initially indicated that they would vote to approve it, and then they denied it without any explanation of why. And so the argument that UI is making is that's completely unfair to the applicant, because the applicant now doesn't know what it has to do to change the plan or submit something different. And that applies, of course, to the actions of all commissions, the Harbor Commission and the Shellfish Commission. When reviewing an application and if the recommendation is unfavorable, it's the responsibility to tell the applicant why. The siting council's action, is certainly subject to a lot of criticism, and maybe there will be some improvements. But thank you so much, Steve. There's much more of interest to both commissions, and I'll stop now.
Thanks very much, Jeff. Always extremely informative. A big list this week. Thanks a lot. That brings to close the committee reports. I'd like to entertain a motion to accept them as presented. A motion to accept the committee reports, anyone?
I make a motion, Pete.
Okay, we got Pete and seconded by John, and all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, the reports are accepted. Quickly moving on to old business. On the agenda, we had the complaint we received for the commercial dredging vessel. I believe it was in Wilson Cove, and I guess it was essentially a sediment concern, and then the individual's literal downstream complaints about fin fishing, essentially. I don't know that we have any more comment on that. Does anyone want to add to that? Hearing none, then we'll just move on to new business. New business, there's just the one item on the agenda tonight. It is the LRWD application for 108 Water Street. And I believe we have Mr. Schuler here representing. And please, sir, you may share your screen and have the floor.
Awesome. Thanks, Steve.
You're welcome, sir.
All right. Please let me know when you can all see my screen, and I'll get started here.
Looks good. Go ahead.
All right. So a number of you were present in the Harbor Management Commission meeting that we went to regarding the Planning and Zoning Commission approval for this project. This is a redevelopment of 108 Water Street. Just to show you where it is in space here, you got Betts Park over here. It's on the west side of Norwalk Harbor. Currently kind of a deteriorated shoreline, dilapidated bulkhead structure along the waterfront. This whole area is planned to get redeveloped into commercial space, office space, residential space, as many of you are aware. In terms of the LWRD application for the state, applying to the waterfront, our plan is to construct a bulkhead along the entire waterfront and remove the dilapidated structures, as well as, fill in concrete that have made their way into the waterway over the years. We see this as a drastic improvement to the current condition of the site. And we'll also be installing a 14-slip marina. Some amount of the slips will be available for transient use. And the upland development also consists of a publicly accessible boardwalk and park that will be open for obviously public access along the waterfront of Norwalk. And just to show you some sections here, this is an elevation view of the existing, kind of showing the deteriorated shoreline, concrete debris, old outfall, and just general erosion along the shoreline. And we're coming in and taking out those existing structures and then building a bulkhead with a public access boardwalk on top. And then having the marina fall basically along the bulkhead as tight as possible to give as much space for boats as we can. Also a feature of this development, there's going to be a staircase down to the water. There's going to be 2 bulkheads here. It's going to more or less follow existing grade, although this might go lower to allow public to actually access the water from land. That's in development, but more importantly, the bulkhead on the waterward side and removing the existing debris. And this is that final section on the southern side showing the existing concrete and timber debris being taken out, the assumed slope of the harbor bottom after excavation and removal of debris, and then our following bulkhead and public access boardwalk. As I mentioned earlier, this went up for planning and zoning approval and was approved subsequently. In terms of the pre-application with the state, we've gotten approval from David Carey at the Bureau of Aquaculture, as well as fisheries have sent their approval as well, saying there's going to be no impact on marine species. The Bureau of Aquaculture citing that this has been a pre-disturbed area, so development will not have any impacts. We believe this is actually going to be an improvement to the waterfront here, obviously taking out, I have some photos as well in our application we sent to you. Bear with me here. Yeah, you can kind of see how open it is. It's a gravel lot. There's just surface runoff when it rains, and any oil debris can run off into the water right now. So we're seeing this as a drastic improvement to the waterfront in this area. And that's kind of the general summary of the project. So I'll turn it over to you guys for any questions.
Thanks very much, Matt. So the outflow that's shown on the as-built, is that extinct such that it does not appear in the new structure? What's going on with that?
That's an abandoned outfall along the waterfront. It's really just a piece of concrete debris at this point. It's not actively connected to any stormwater system.
Understood. Just one further question for me. In terms of east-west, something the commissions are always concerned about is bulkhead creep. So with respect to the horizontal, sort of horizontal in this photo anyway, but the east-west location of the new bulkhead versus the historical one.
Sure. Yeah, so in this case, you guys are probably pleased to know that we're actually bulkheading behind the existing structures on the waterfront. So I guess the section D shows it the best. The existing structures and bulkhead are actually going to be waterward of the new structure we're putting in. Our plan is to install this bulkhead, sort of the cofferdam, to confine the work area, and then reach over and excavate and remove debris where we can. There may be interference with concrete and drivability of sheet pile, but the entire area is also going to be confined to the turbidity curtain to prevent any impacts during construction. That's shown here.
And maybe lastly, if I could, Matt, so at the bottom of the stairs to where the north-south running dock runs, what's the gap there between the landward structure and the floating structure?
It's going to be as tight as possible to maximize area in the marina for slips. Where we have it shown now, we believe is possible. It's about 1 foot off to allow that pile to get in there, about 18 inches. So there's 6 inches of space between the front of the bulkhead here and this pile driven here.
So it's about a foot.
A foot to 1.5 feet.
Yeah, I was just thinking, just in terms of safety, if someone fell in, I mean, they wouldn't necessarily come up there in clear water. They might come up underneath the dock.
Yeah, and we'll have guardrails and whatever else we need to put into the sign to make it safe. The way we have it shown now, like, there is a drop off, but this elevation is subject to change. It's kind of in development. We don't think that this is going to have a significant bearing on the project. This is just so the public can interact with the water at various points in the tide cycle. I'm not sure if it's going to go all the way down to low water here. I think showing it kind of blending with existing grade makes sense. But like I said, that's sort of in development. But we don't believe it's necessarily pertinent to the project in terms of shellfish impacts.
And so one of the things that was teased during the presentation to the Harbor Management Commission some time ago was putting in some type of shellfish hatchery, though I haven't seen that appear in any documents anywhere. Should that hatchery be installed, where would that water come from, and where would it be exhausted along this bulkhead?
To be honest with you, I don't know the answer to that question. I don't think Henry Conroy joined us to expand on that. And again, we are exploring options for the water dependent use. We are committing to a water dependent use. The upland area inside the buildings, we have dedicated space for water dependent use, whether it's a marina or hatchery, like you suggested. In terms of where that water is going to get pulled from and discharged to, that's sort of beyond my scope of involvement in the project. I'm more of the structural and state application regulatory specialist here. Redis Admin has the various stormwater calculations and at least with discharge into the water, has prepared a stormwater plan that's compliant, obviously with all the requirements. I saw Pete Johnson raising his hand. I don't know if you had a question.
Yeah, I'll open it up. So go ahead, Pete.
Norwalk is known for its shellfishing. Approximately 90% of all shellfish out of Long Island Sound comes in Norwalk. We also have per capita, most people that own boats are from Norwalk in Norwalk. We have boat yards. What's going to happen to these boat yards? What's going to happen to these oyster companies? How are you protecting them? And our grounds.
Well, I would say that the proposed project is a drastic improvement over the existing condition of the site. In terms of protecting boaters, I think this would increase access for recreational boaters, being a new marina where it's currently a marine contractor's yard that's not publicly accessible. We also
now what's going to happen in the wintertime with these boats? Where do they go?
that would be up to the owners of the boats to have the boats hauled out and stored
That's what you're
upland.
doing. You're screwing the Norwalk owners that own boats that put them in yards, in boat yards. You're doing away with the boat yards. You're killing our infrastructure.
Okay, and that concern is noted. I would say, there's costs and pros and cons to any project. In this instance, I don't think boat storage is a water dependent use, whereas we will actually be implementing a water dependent use, opening up slips available for boat owners in the market, as well as just providing a transient dock for people to use and access publicly. People who have boats around in the marina come access the site. Boat storage, as far as I can understand, I think boat storage at this site, many of the boats stored here aren't even from Norwalk. So a lot of people are having their boats driven over here and put here for the winter out of city. So in terms of what those people are going to do, I would imagine that they would find another place to store the boat. Just as
How do you know that many people are from other towns?
This came up in
Are
the
there
harbor management.
from other towns? Most of them go to Cove from out of town.
Okay, and I didn't know that. I'm not trying to be argumentative. That was just my understanding from previous planning and zoning meetings and the Harbor Management Commission meeting. We're not trying to screw any people out of their boat storage. We view this project as a benefit to Norwalk Harbor, expanding recreational boating access and expanding public access to the waterfront. That's how we view this project. And obviously, there's some takeaways. There's a marine contractor there right now. Like you said, there's other uses of the site on the upland, including boat storage, that are going to get displaced by this. But we think this is a very exciting project and going to be a boost to the economy and allow public access where there's currently none.
Are these going to be condos or apartments?
I believe they're going to be apartments.
So what boost to the economy is? It's a boost to the contractor that's building them.
Well, it's going to be retail commercial space.
It's not boosting the city at all.
But it's gonna be retail space, commercial space, office space as well. I believe whatever tenant occupies.
Does the money all go to the city?
Whatever tenant
privately
occupies
owned?
the space, I would
Is
think.
it privately owned?
The site or the businesses?
Yeah, and what happens when, like Norton Place, you got your tax incentive for 6 years, and now all of a sudden they sold it instantly, and guess what it's starting to become? Section 8.
Well, I can't speak to that.
In 10 years?
I wasn't involved in that project, and I'm not involved in the real estate development aspect of this. And I'm working as a consultant on the waterfront aspect and getting through the regulatory approval. So I can't comment on that.
I'm sorry, we're getting too many apartments around here. If you want to do it condos. Then you'll see the people take care of stuff. I'm done.
You're muted, Steve.
Hey, thanks, Bill. Any other questions, other commissioners for Mr. Schuler while we have him here? Matt, what's the fine print, the date stamp on this photo? I can't read it.
This is April 26th, 2024.
April 25th. Okay, so it's right around the beginning of the boating season. Very beginning. Okay. I hear no other comments from the commissioners. I mean, typically for these projects, we do a site inspection. I think that this is fairly well documented by the photographs, and I think all of us are quite familiar with the damage, if you will, just over time that's happened to this bulkhead structure. And I think rightly we should separate this particular aspect of the project from the upland portion. And I see nothing objectionable. My idea would perhaps to be to move this forward, reserving the right to comment on full application, just with standard language, including our best practices. Anyone else outside the commission? Chairman Kibbe, Mr. Stedman, Dr. Peno would like to have anything to discuss here?
Oh, there are certainly, Pete brought up a lot of important issues that have to do with the city of Norwalk, and it's hard to know how you draw the line between the city's needs and the waterfront needs. Quite frankly, that we talk about having a marine commercial district, but the revenue from a marine commercial district is not going to pay property owner what the property is worth as an apartment tower or other kinds of development. So there's a sort of conflict there, and I don't know how you resolve that. Understand you can really recruit. I mean, we have, in terms of commercial interests, you have things like West Marine that's there, which is it's a water dependent kind of use, and that's great to have that there. But to fill all that commercial space up with boating activity, other than kind of what we see here, it's a difficult challenge. I will say, I spend a lot of time around Long Island Sound, in different places, and boatyards don't have to be as crummy as these appear, particularly in the aerial shots. If you go up to Milford, they're very well taken care of. They're all graveled, fenced, screened from prying eyes, and all. So there's a lot of things that can be done to make them more appealing. And I think get a better utilization of the space. But I don't know how that gets driven with the city and with the economics of the property owners and what they would like to do there. I don't know what the solution is. I don't have a recommendation to offer.
I don't disagree necessarily with a lot of what Pete said, but I do think that what Steve is talking about in terms of separating the questions is paramount, given who we are as a board and what our jurisdiction is.
Steve, it's Jeff. Might I ask a question?
Yes, sir. Please do.
The upland portion of this project was approved by planning and zoning, and I believe there was a coastal site plan review that was done on it. Is there a requirement for a separate coastal site plan review on the bulkhead structures, since they are considered flood and erosion control structures, and the Coastal Management Act requires a coastal site plan review on those? Or was the coastal site plan approval in effect included in the coastal site plan approval for the bulkhead included as part of the approval for the upland part of the project?
Sure. Typically, our clients would pursue the state permitting before the local permitting. So that local permit application was actually in advance of state permitting. So that was the coastal site plan review approval. I will say that Harbor Management Commission will take another stab at this. I think in the December meeting we're on the agenda, and that was submitted as a pre-application consultation for our state permit. So any comments applied on that form will go to the state for their review during our application process.
That's the state permit. All right, we'll see how this all develops. And then the only comment I might make, and it's interesting, it was maybe 10 or a dozen years ago, the first time I heard the statement that boat storage and boat repair are not water dependent uses. And that statement was made by the developer of the tremendous project in Stamford, with the argument that you could trailer a boat to Danbury or Brewster or someplace and work on it there. You don't have to work on it on the waterfront. But of course, there's there's a whole bunch of issues associated with that, including the economic feasibility of a boatyard that would be relocated inland. And I remember talking with a former DEP commissioner at the time who actually wrote the Connecticut Coastal Management Act, and he certainly did not agree with the assessment that boat storage and boat repair are not water dependent uses. So that's subject to opinion, and I just make that as a commentary. Thank you.
That's acknowledged, and you know, at Race we understand the importance of these facilities too. The vessels of this size, is sort of this yard, they're all trailerable. It seems like they'd be able to find storage elsewhere. And you know, it's town to town, as I'm sure you know, Jeff. Seeing a lot of these coastal management plans, boat repair is considered a water dependent use in some towns and municipalities. So it is subject to opinion, and you know, for better or worse, in this case, we got our approval for planning and zoning, seeing this as a benefit.
Mm-hmm. Subject to opinion and interpretation, as a lot of things are. Thank you for understanding that.
I got something to say. You know, it's Water Street. You know why it got named Water Street?
Because of the frequent flooding is what I'm told.
Right. What are you doing for flooding there?
So that was part of the development team's efforts to kind of preemptively address that. They have their entire building set up so the first floor, or at least the ground floor, has tall ceilings, so they can retrofit it later to interact with a higher grade of the road. Being fully aware that there have been proposals submitted and plans, at least in the preliminary stages, of raising Water Street to prevent those flooding issues. So they're ready to receive an elevated roadway and adapt to that change. And then the waterfront access is going to have to be, you know, within that low elevation. We're just keeping up at elevation 8, which is pretty high over high water at this time. But with sea level rise forecast, you know, we're going to be seeing it at probably a pretty appropriate use 20, 30, 40 years from now.
Yeah, it's going to go higher and higher, the water. They've already proven that.
Right. So hopefully that, well, maybe not hopefully, but maybe that roadway gets raised and the developers already have the planning in place to receive that elevated roadway to address the future sea level rise and frequent flooding.
Any more questions, comments? Hearing none, I made my opinion known. If anyone would like to put forward a motion just for this segment of the project, please feel free to do so. And I would say that could include site inspection, despite the relatively good documentation of the as-built.
I would like to do that.
Meaning have a site inspection, John?
Yeah, not as a precondition for any of our approvals. I would just like to do that.
Yes, sir. Okay, that's fair. Like to put that forward as a motion, if you would.
Yeah. I think I so moved, if that's helpful.
Yeah,
I'll
that's
second
good.
it.
Thanks, Pete. And all in favor of that?
Aye.
Fine.
Aye.
And again, this is not an effort to slow things down. It's just going to be, I think it would be good for us all to have a good handle of it.
Yeah. So Harbor's meeting when because of the Thanksgiving holiday. Chairman Kibbe, do you happen to know when your meeting is?
In a flash, I will.
No, take your time.
The 19th of November, Wednesday, the 19th.
19th of November.
So it's not next week, it's the week after.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's try to get together with a brother or sister of our sister commission and go take a look at it.
Let me know when I'd like to do the site visit. with you. So let me know when you're going.
Sounds good. How would we arrange that, Matt?
You can contact me or Henry Conroy. I think he's been included on the email chain for this meeting.
Sounds good. Okay. Thanks for coming tonight.
Let's try and do that post haste if we can.
Yeah, for
Okay.
sure. Let's get
Okay.
it done before Harbor's meeting.
Sit down with the camera. Milo, Toby.
Hey, Matt, thank you.
Thank you all.
Yeah.
Have a good
Yeah,
night.
thanks for coming.
Thank you very much.
That's the last item on the agenda for tonight. Unless anyone has anything to say, I guess some of us will be together down there on Water Street as soon as possible. All right, a motion to adjourn.
I make a
So
motion.
moved. Or second?
Second, Pete.
All right, got it from John and second by Pete. And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you.
Great. Anyone I don't see or talk to, have a happy Thanksgiving.
I'll see you. before
Same
then.
to y'all.
Happy Thanksgiving to you all.
Happy Thanksgiving,
See you in
everybody.
December.